Hi class. Okay, so for WOOF Review, Set 1, Slide 3. We are beginning to, the first problem, is to make an equivalence chain for 1/3. So the way you do this, it's really super simple, is you put 1/3. Now remember, equivalence means equal. It's got that word in there, kind of that equa. Okay, so equivalence means equal. So it's a really simple strategy. I love this little strategy. You just count by. So count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we'll now count by threes. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 1/3 is equivalent to 5/15. I'll show you how that is equal. Remember, when you do fractions, whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. And when we are changing fractions, we multiply or divide. So to get from 3 to 15, I would have to multiply by 5 because 3 times 5 is 15. Well, whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 1 times 5 is 5. Same with if I wanted to check for 1/3 and 4/12. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. It works out. So if I wanted to try another one that's maybe a little bit harder, let's do 4, 6. Let's do an equivalence chain for that, 4, 6. If you want, you can pause it and try it on your own. And then once you've done it, doing 3 of them, come back and see if you're right. I'll give you a second to pause. Okay, welcome back. So let's skip count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, stop. All right, now let's count by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24. So 4, 6 is equivalent to 16/24. If you wanted to check it, well, let's count by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24. 6 times 4 is 24. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 4 times 4 is 16. It works. Easy trick. All right, so now we're going to find the quotient. So quotient is the answer to a division problem. So remember how I read it so I know which numbers are inside, how I read it kind of with that expression. So read it with me as I write it. 489 divided by 3. I think that really helps know where to put which number goes on the inside. So 489 divided by 3. So remember, we did, I'm trying to decide where I want to write it. Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers raw? Stands for divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, remainder, or repeat and remainder. So I'm going to first divide. How many times does 3 go into 4? It goes in 1 time. My next step is multiply. I multiply 3 times 1. I like my little rainbow up there because it helps me know what I'm multiplying. So 3 times 1 is 3. My next step is subtract. Now I'm checking. I'm checking to see if my difference, which is my answer to a subtraction, is less than my divisor. Remember, my divisor is the number standing out here. Out here, remember he was wearing a visor when we were doing that. That looks not like a visor at all. My drawings are horrible. So, is 1 less than 3? Yes, that's what our check is. Okay, so after we check, the next one is bring down. If I bring it down, we must repeat, which means we have to go all the way back to division. So 18 divided by 3. Count by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Went in 6 times. I just divided, now I multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. You don't have to write this part over here. I was just, when I was saying it, showing you. Okay, so now we subtract. Now we check. Is 0 less than 3? 0 is less than 3. What's next? Bring it down. If we bring it down, we must repeat. Repeat, remember, all the way back to division. So 9 divided by 3 goes in 3 times. I just divided, now I multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. Goes in perfectly. So my difference is 0. 163 is my quotient. We can check it by taking our quotient times our divisor. Our quotient, our answer, times our divisor, the one standing out in the sun, remember? We take our ones times our ones, which is 9, our ones times our tens, which is 18, and our ones times our hundreds, which is 3 plus 1 is 4. See if it matches, and it does, our dividend. So our answer is 163. Okay, here we are making equivalent fractions. So when we did the equivalence chain above, we were saying whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top, same thing. We were multiplying. Well, here we're going from a big number to a small number. We've got a big number here and a small number here. So because we're going from big to small, that means we need to divide. So let's count by 2s to see how many times that goes into 8. Okay? 2, 4, 6, 8. It goes in 4 times. So 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. And we also know that 4/8, half of 8 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. So we knew that was equal to 1/2. Remember how we always were looking for halves when we were doing comparison with fractions? We were always looking for those halves. Is it greater than a half? Is it less than a half? And I believe our next problem, yep, has to do with that. So let's take a look at our next problem. Well, 2/4. What's half of 4? 2, right? So 2/4 is equal to a half. So this is half. But 3/4, wow, that's 1 more than a half. So we know that 3/4 is greater. Plus they had that really great picture, right? I don't know if it will look like this or not, but 1 2/4 versus 1 2 3/4. So we know 2/4 is less than 3/4. 3/4 is greater. You could have, I'm going to scroll back up. You could have also done the butterfly method, which I don't like to teach you guys, you know that, because I want you to really know about fractions. But a little cheating, you could go like this and say 3 times 4 is 12, and 2 times 4 is 8. It's from wherever you start from. That's where you put the numbers. Then you look which is bigger, 8 or 12. Well, 12 is bigger, 12 is greater. So that's a good little cheat method. But I really want you to know, looking for halves, that really helps. This is asking which shows 3/5 as a sum of unit fractions. Okay, so either yesterday or the day before we had sum of unit fractions, and this is where I told you guys really to pay attention to those keywords. Sum, big keyword. Remember, we had sum written like that. It means, sorry, plus sign. Okay, so sum means adding. Unit means 1. Unit means 1. So we are doing the sum adding of unit fractions. Well, our denominator stays the same. Denominator, say that 3 times fast. Our denominator stays the same. Unit means 1. We need to look how many of those unit fractions we need. We need 3. So it'd be 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. I always like to first solve. And this is like my target. This is what I want. This answer is my target. So let's look at A. Does A match? No way. 2/5 plus 2/5. Even if we did that, that equals 4/5. Plus, it wasn't doing the sum of unit fractions. Well, here we have unit fractions, and we have 3 of the 1/5. And that matches. But I don't stop, because you never know. Sometimes they have more than one answer. I always look on. Here they did 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. Those are unit fractions, but that would equal 3/3. 3/3, 1 whole. Doesn't match. And here, oh my goodness, we cannot add denominators that are not the same. We have to make them the same. So this wouldn't work at all. And this one right here is not a unit fraction, and the denominator is not matching the 5. Okay, here, if our denominator is the same, we keep it the same. If our denominator is the same, we keep it the same. And we just add our numerators, 8/12. Simple dimple. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed today's WOOF review. Come back tomorrow.